everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone is having a great week so far. Tomorrow is Friday, so hopefully you're ready for the weekend as well. Um, Today is a very special day. We have the first Get Community, Get Leadership Mindset Community talk. So that's a community that we set few months ago, and it's basically for leaders to be able to have this kind of community where they can share the learnings, grow together, empower each other, and thrive. We're having sessions online and offline, and if you're interested, please join the page and fill in the form, and hopefully you'll join us. Before even starting this session, I just want to give a big thank you to a few people who helped the session today. And I think I tagged them as well in the post. JW, Spiros, and Abdelhamid. I think that session wouldn't have been possible without your support, and obviously, yeah, they're partners within the Get community. So this session would be live on few channels today, which is something very different. So you'll find it on my LinkedIn and YouTube channel, Figure It Out with Fatima. But also Ahmed has it on his LinkedIn channel, his Facebook channel, and on his YouTube, which is Yafit. So hopefully after the session today, Ahmed, maybe you can put the links as well so people can follow you and then see what you're doing. So the guests today are very special. So Ahmed and Dogan, I kind of know them personally, and I hope it's okay to say that. They're brilliant. Ahmed has a great career in sales. It's very impressive, moved across different organizations, and it's truly inspiring to find a sales leader with that mindset. Dogan, I've worked personally with him at Unilever for around 3 years. We were saying before the live session. And he's a truly inspiring supply chain leader as well. So I can't wait to start, the session and getting to learn from their careers, which is basically the session today is about how to shape your career and learn from them how they shape their careers, how did they end where they are now. But it's not easy to shape a strong career. So I can't wait to hear about their experience. So let me start with Ahmed. Maybe you can both introduce yourself, but maybe Ahmed, you can start introducing yourself quickly to the audience.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Fatima. Really glad to be with you here today. So thanks for inviting me. So I'm currently a sales engineer in Cloudera, specialized in data and AI, specifically for businesses. Um, I come from development technical background and retail family business as well in my early career days. However, I moved to architecture roles in AWS, Amazon Web Services, as well as sales engineering in TikTok. So I've been quite across technical architecture and sales world a bit.
And around different companies as well, which is
Yes,
impressive.
great. Thank you.
Um, Dogan, maybe you can give us a bit as well of an introduction and tell us more about you and your career.
Yeah, thank you, Fatima, for having me. Um, as you said, we worked together with Unilever, but before my journey started back in Istanbul, I was a computer engineer, and then I did a couple of different things, and then I joined Coca-Cola, and since then I'm in the FMCG sector. I worked for also BAT for 20 years and also Unilever. Um, I've been in the data analytics space for more than 2 decades. And currently, I'm the supply chain transformation lead, helping the organizations to utilize the data and make informed decisions.
Well, thank you both for being here. It's really amazing to have you and, walking us through your career and inspiring others. So let me start now with maybe Dogan. Start from there where we ended and say,
Mm.
what inspired your career journey? How did you find your way into your current role and the whole career? Because I guess career is different steps. Like it's
Yeah.
easy to see where people are now, but how did it all start and
Mm.
how was the journey?
Like I said, I'm a data analytics person. You would expect such a person to be an SQL expert. This is the case, but
Yeah.
but At the beginning of my journey, I wasn't. And when I started university in Istanbul Technical University, there was one lesson that I wasn't really good at. It was SQL. It wasn't like any other programming languages I have learned. So I was like, okay, let me just pass this exam, and later on I will not touch it. But basically, the destiny brought me into a different direction. So, but obviously, the journey is always, something that you don't know exactly
Mhm.
what's you are expecting at the end. I started as a microprocessor designer while I was studying in the university, and then I joined to Microsoft. I really wanted to be part of a multinational that inspired
Mhm.
me. And I was, doing support, call center support. After graduation, tested some other areas. I did networking, and then once, I think in 1997 or something like that, long time ago, I found myself in Coca-Cola. You would ask me how you found yourself in Coca-Cola. It was a bit of a luck. I was looking for something new, and to be honest, the brand image back then, a strong company, multinational, it just pulled me in, and it was the beginning of the journey. And I really tried some other sectors, but always FMCG was a thing that I found myself most satisfying, having lots of impact. I learned almost everything the initial stage in Coca-Cola, and afterwards, one of the things that was very important is that with Coca-Cola, I started to be a part of a team which is not exclusively technical people, IT people. I was working with the sales people. I was working with the finance people, and it really opened my perspective, and I started to understand how I can help, how much impact I can do in an FMCG sector. After Coca-Cola, I tried a tech company. I was working as an Oracle database admin, but what I realized, it was quite isolated, and I felt isolated. I decided to go back to the FMCG, back to what I really like to do, and I started working in BAT, British American Tobacco. 20 years passed so fast, and now in Unilever, and and to be honest, this decision, this journey, shaped by chance, partially, and after some time, it was a conscious decision, where I want to be, what I want to be, and what kind of impact I want to do. These were the things that brought me into this direction. Data analytics have been always my passion. Even in my younger times, I really liked looking at the charts, looking at the graphs, you know uh, articulate what is the message of these things, and after some years,
Yeah.
I'm in it. Yeah.
Well, it's impressive, and I love how you kind of walked us through it. I think one thing I just maybe you've just you underplayed it a bit by saying, "Oh, it was luck." I think being there for the opportunity, I bet you've put so much effort so that when the opportunity was there, y- you were the right person.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of the time, especially if we're speaking about career, um, it's more about how you kind of prepare yourself so when the opportunity comes, you're ready for it, that you're actually
Exactly.
there.
Yeah.
So I
it's
wouldn't
a, it's a
say it's
bit of
walked in.
a
I think you've paid a lot, you've made a lot of effort. I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
um
Look, I mean,
uh,
the initial part of my career when I was young, it was try and fail. To be honest, you try new things, you fail. You When I say fail, it's not necessarily failing what you do, but it's basically failing on understanding what exactly you want to do. And
yes.
you discover what you don't want to do, and then slowly you understand
Yeah.
yourself. I mean, the first quarter of my career was like that. After the first quarter, then the rest was intentional, and the efforts intentionally put into where I want to be, where I want to go.
Impressive. So maybe I'll take that intentional piece and just go to Ahmed and ask, what about you? What inspired your career journey? How did you end up where you are now as such a successful leader?
Well, it was quite for me, it's quite different because it started very early. It started when I was a shy boy in the corner of a jewelry shop, actually. I was 13 years old. My family business was jewelry since I was a young kid. And, jewelers, they have to teach their kids jewelry from very early a stage. So I had to go to my summer vacations to a jewelry shop. But by time I was developing that um, itch to how to automate what's happening here using computers. I was developing that love for computers and software, and I was like, how to automate the invoice, how to automate all the accounting of the shop. And at the same time, I was observing salesmen, how they deal with the tourists in Khan Khalil in Egypt, the popular touristic area, how
Oh,
they
yeah.
deal with them, learning from them. So when I grew up, I studied engineering because I love that, and at the same time, I decided to pursue the jewelry business as well. So I graduated, I opened the shop, but spent a couple of years, but then decided no, I feel I need to do something in technology. I love technology. I feel that it will add more value to the world. Basically, I felt more satisfied working in technology, and I started a little bit late than my peers by working in startups, but actually that was a fast track for me to learn technical very quickly, and it led me to found my own startup. But after founding my own software service startup for a couple of years, I decided that I want to take an international experience. I want to have this international experience and see how things work in a professional level. And I spent a lot of effort trying to get into Amazon, and I was able to get into there. And also, it was more about I developed the technical skill, but I want to improve the communication skill. So my first customer facing actual job was in Amazon, and that I learned there a lot, and that was architecture. And then even further, I moved to a sales engineering job in TikTok to even be in the front line more with customers. And that taught me a lot because I was moving a lot between different customers, different industries, different technologies at the same time. It was very hectic, but at the same time, it gives you a very 360 rounded experience. Um, and yeah, and then I developed my love for data when I was in AWS, because in AWS you get exposed to myriad of technologies, and that's why I decided to go to Cloudera eventually and work specifically in data and AI.
Impressive. Again, I think what's common across, well, the three of us is the multinational experience. And I think that makes a lot of a difference. And you can only understand it when you work in a multinational, especially that you've shared, Ahmed, that you started in you went through startups and family business. I think multinational brings something different. Um, so
Yeah,
before I go to the next question, I think I just wanted to let the audience know that you can feel free on any of the channels, whether it's Figure Out with Fatima or the LinkedIn or Yafit or Ahmed's channel. Just please feel free to put in any question that you want us to answer, and we just make sure that we cover it. So um, yeah, and if you're watching us live on any of those channels, again, say hello and say where you're joining from, and we'll definitely give you a shout out. So let me go to the next question now, Ahmed. I'll start with you this time.
yeah.
So, what aspects of your role make you truly happy? What, as a sales expert, professional, leader, what brings that sense of purpose when you're doing this sales role?
Um, there are two aspects. The first aspect is the data speciality, and the second aspect is the sales aspect of it. So, when it comes to data, I think I believe that the most limitation of humans is memory, right? And being able to make sense of such huge amounts of data and building the technology to do that is just changing the world, as we all are seeing. Um, and sometimes I think in the future, when my son grows up and he lives in this full of AI world, and he feels that his father was part of this mission, it just makes me very fulfilled. That's one aspect of it. The
I
sales
love that.
aspect of it is that really when you love tech and people at the same time, there's no better job than a sales engineer's job, because you really get closer to the people. You learn how to be empathetic with their cases. You have this unique view of all of the companies. What is the most challenging problem they are facing, or what is the most aspect they are pursuing, and you are being their voice basically to advocate for them inside your companies, to tailor their products to achieve what they want. So you feel that you are in this unique position, that you are actually having an impact in both worlds, and you are having this skills to talk business and talk technical, which is quite, you take a lot of time to develop technical and take a lot of time to develop sales. So that's why I love I think it's quite hard to get there. So yeah, that's me.
It is quite hard, and I think I always say it's interesting that you're saying it this way. I promise we didn't have a chat, Ahmed and I, about this aspect before, but I think one of the things that I always do is like we're so fortunate working in the data and emerging tech profession because we are shaping the profession now. We're shaping the technology. If you work in that profession at the moment, you're just so lucky. So
Yeah,
yeah, I love that. Yes,
thank
I
you.
totally agree.
Thank you.
um, Dogan, what about supply chain
Yeah.
and your leadership there? I know you do also project management. Like you're very like yeah, you have so much, you do so much, and what truly makes you happy? What are aspects of your role that really you sense it has that purpose
Yeah. I
that
think
drives you?
it's similar with what Ahmed mentioned. The impact that I feel that I bring on the lives of the others. That's I think is the most satisfying bit of what I'm doing. Especially when you know that the people are making decisions, key decisions based on the insights that you provide. That is priceless. And also if when you think of a consumer being able to find their favorite product on the shelf, thanks to, let's say, the system that you provided, which is avoiding out of stock on the shelf. That is basically the key satisfaction. But like you mentioned, because I've been in data transformation projects for quite a long time, the project mode is also another very satisfying, let's say, perspective. Because first of all, working in a multinational, you interact with people from different cultures, different backgrounds, and sharing the success with all these people, it makes it much more satisfying. And also uh, making data analytics projects like other projects, transformation projects, you need to innovate, you need to come up with new ideas, you need to be solving business problems, like solving a puzzle, and that is also quite fun part. I'm not like a BAU person, unfortunately. The exciting bit of the projects is basically keeping me motivated and satisfied with what I'm doing.
I think yeah, I think especially if you work in supply chain, making sure that we have the stock, and when as consumer, when we go to somewhere, I'm like, yes, we didn't run out of stock. Good for that.
Yeah.
um,
And there's also another aspect. When you do data analytics projects for FMCG, for supply chain, for TMND, like the other DNA projects, 80% of this kind of programs fail statistically. And it makes it much more satisfying when you complete something that really helps the organization, helps people. You know that your baby is basically growing and helping others. That's an important
I love
aspect.
that the baby is growing and helping others. That's amazing.
Yeah.
um, so let me keep on with the because you said moved across organization, multinationals, and I'll just take it from there and really ask And I've been very open. Like I've left Unilever,
Mhm,
moving to another role, and I think having moved across different multinationals, I feel like very fortunate to work for a big organization. But I also know that the transition is not easy. Preparing yourself for the next
mhm,
role, deciding what to do next. If you have a couple of offers, which is amazing, then it's taking the right offer and saying, oh, you know what, I'll actually go with this. And, what is the right for me? So my question would
mhm,
be to you, Dogan, taking on, starting for you, this question is,
mhm,
having worked across several multinational, how did you navigate the transitions? How did you decide what to do next, like consciously apply?
mhm. Yeah, like I said, at the early stages of your career, it's a bit try and fail. It's a bit adventure mode. But by the time that you discover yourself, you really understand yourself. You start knowing yourself. It really helps. At one point, if the excitement goes, and you feel like you need to leave, you leave. If you think there is something, an opportunity, you just go and grab it. And when you get into a new environment, I think that's quite an important aspect of navigating into a new environment, new multinational. Even though most of the multinationals, FMCG, operates in a very similar way, the business objectives are mostly the same. When you design a DNA structure, the KPIs, more or less, they are the same. But the priorities are different. The cultures are different. The people are different. You really need to understand all these elements, all these important bits of what you're going to do, including the technology stack, of course. You need to really understand these four key areas. If you miss any of them, then you fail. You really need to know who you are working with, who you will be, what kind of a culture you are in, so that you blend in, you adopt, and you maximize the benefit that you are bringing as quickly as possible. Obviously, if there are any tech environment differences based on your experience, you need to start understanding this. But obviously, it's not enough if you don't understand the business. You really need to quickly understand the priorities of the specific of the organization that you are getting into.
I agree, and I think people, so especially if you're starting your roles at early careers, I think culture is really important. It can make or break the experience, and I can't emphasize enough. Like I love that you've mentioned it, Dogan, and the excitement bit definitely. Like you have to wake up in the morning, and
Yeah,
because every role there is always something that's really good and things that you're like you have to do. It's normal, it's life. But it's this excitement that you get in the morning. It's like, yes, I want to start the role. I want to do this in the morning. So yeah, I love how you mentioned that. Obviously, the tech
yeah,
stack and everything. So can't agree more. Yes,
must
must
have.
have. What about you, Ahmed? What kind of again, you've moved across different organization, different IT ones, non-IT one, and we were really strong. How was the transition like? How did you decide what to do next?
Well, each stage was different and for different purpose, but the common side of it is that I think the sweet spot in any role is when you have something to give to the business, and at the same time the business has something to give you back. You kind of balance. You are learning something that you really want to learn, but at the same time you formed some experience that the business will leverage. And but to reach that sweet spot and to be in that um, privileged role, because not many can really be in that sweet spot. Sometimes it can be really hard if you don't like what the role you're at, or can maybe so easy or so hard. Um, you will have to know your goal, what you want, and put the effort, the extra effort. It will be painful, but it will not last. The pain will not last. The more effort you do earlier, the more rewards you will reap at the end, benefits you reap at the end. So, for example, when I decided to move an international, to have international experience, I moved to Amazon. It was not easy at all. I had about, I don't know, 15 interviews. I prepared a lot. but it was a
I know.
big
He's laughing as well. Yeah, I know. Like 15 interviews. What on earth was that?
yeah. I spent one day like
Oh
six
my
No.
goodness.
hours sitting in that chair with that shirt actually, and it's it's so hard, but it's so useful at the end. It's and it changes your life. So that was a pivotal time of my career, and I consider AWS time or Amazon time very pivotal and changing to my mindset. And so that was the first transition, and then I uh, TikTok transition was quite smoother than I thought, because at some point in AWS I achieved many things that I was so happy about, but at some point I felt, will I continue doing the same? Am I really getting something more here now, or I'm out of my sweet spot now? And I didn't for TikTok, it was different because I didn't pursue it. They actually reached out to me, and for me it was an opportunity to learn about the Chinese culture. And I wanted, because I tried this American culture. We have grown up with American movies, and I wanted to learn really how the other side of the world was working. And that was a very good opportunity for me. I learned a lot. It was so diverse, apart from the fact that I had to wake up very early because of that time difference. But and then I realized I preferred the American time. And yeah, that was the second transition. The last transition, I th- again, that transition was also driven by the fact that I wanted to have more sales experience. I wanted to put myself in an exposure to learn more about sales, to learn more about customers. So when I was in AWS, I was more every time I was in the second or third call with the customer. So many things happened before I get in front of the customer. But when I moved to TikTok, uh, I was getting from the very first discovery call. I learned a lot about how to act, what should be the behavior in a discovery first call ever with the customer, how to earn their trust and get credibility. And actually, that was reflected in my interview with Cloudera. I remember in one of the interviews, my manager asked me, "Okay, can you give me an elevator 2-minute pitch about what you do in ByteDance or TikTok?" And that was like, okay, I saw that question is very easy, and I did it. And then he told me, "Do you know how many people cannot say what you just said?" And I told him, to be honest, because I say that every single day, multiple times, so I know how to say it. So sometimes you get the skill and you don't realize you have it, but you just work towards it and you do your best. So yeah, I hope that
Yeah.
answered the question. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that is brilliant, and I love the how you explain how you transitioned across each, and how actually you pulled the learning to build on top of it. That was really smart, but also the elevator pitch, because I guess not everyone understands it, and I get they so when I did my MBA, I think the team were very, very clear that we needed an elevator pitch. And very few people were able to articulate exactly what they did in a proper elevator pitch.
Mm,
But yeah, who can better do it than a salesperson? So definitely, like, okay.
thank you.
so so taking it from there, Ahmed, and again, I'll start with you this time with this question. So you spoke about the elevator pitch. You really walked us about, like, through your, growing from an a role to the other. How did you balance the personal growth and the impact at work? Because working at, like, Amazon is very high pace. TikTok is the same. Cloudera is the same. Those are really, like, IT companies are quite, like, I used to work for HP. Those are quite high paced environments. Like, you can't get
Mm.
more than an IT company because that's the fastest you can go. How did you manage balance your personal growth within those organizations and outside? Because it's all about your career, really, to get where you are now.
Yeah, yeah, I love that question because my learnings here were quite things I learned on my own and things I learned from outside. So I'd like to start with the fact that I learned to be, I love to be present, fully present in what I do in general. So if I'm in a presentation, I like to be fully present in that presentation, not multitasking on my laptop or doing something else. Of course, sometimes you are too pressured to do this because you have lots of work, but at least the default behavior is that you are fully present in what you do. So if you are fully present in what you do, you will find yourself saving yourself a lot of time in the future trying to make up for what you missed. So if I'm doing my work, if I have a scheduled hour for preparing for a meeting, I need to really do that. And then after work, I have my personal growth plans that I need to focus on. If you mix both, you will start to find that things are becoming blurry. Lines are becoming blurry between the tasks and responsibilities you have. So it burns you out, and you find yourself not really achieving much at the end. Um, that was something I learned on my own. I also, when I joined Amazon, because what you said, it was very high paced, I realized that I cannot use the old methodologies to achieve what I want to achieve. I started using task management tools at this time, and it really helped a lot. Like, you have to have some kind of a funnel or pipeline that you throw all the tasks that you find that you need to do in one place, and then you visit them and prioritize. Prioritization is the key here, because Amazon used to be like we used to call it a candy store for technical people. You really, and
I
they
can
were
understand why, just thinking about that,
yeah,
yeah,
because
sentence now.
if you left yourself, you will find yourself not able to finish anything.
Mm.
They were what part of the onboarding was actually teaching us how to say no, because they learned that we each to help everyone, but actually they were teaching us how to say no. In my words, it's how to prioritize. So
Mm.
many times I was looking at my task list and say, okay, should I rush to help that customer, or that customer will not be really angry if I didn't do it now? I should focus on the initiative I'm working on, because my initiative will scale the learning to multiple customers at the same time. So I wanted to try to focus on initiatives that I was working on, and prioritize my work. Um, the last thing I would say is that 6 years ago, before joining AWS, really, I was lucky that in my notice period before moving to AWS, I read a book. I really advise everyone to read it. It's called Getting Things Done. And it has put to me somehow the framework of really how to achieve this. For example, if your task list, any of the task will not take more than 2 minutes, you should finish it now right away. Any task that would take more than 2 minutes, you can then schedule some time for it. Some of these kind of tips from someone who used to help like the billionaires of the world how to organize their time. So yeah, this is the information that I learned externally, but at the same time, I think I learned more the hard way when Amazon hit me with so much to do, and I was trying to figure out how to achieve all of this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's known for its space, Amazon. So yes, this is what when you said, I was like, okay, we need to know how you've done it there.
Mm.
But yeah, I think what you mentioned about actually, or I think is really good. It's you said you crafted some time after work for your own personal growth. So, and
Yeah.
we're speaking about careers. So you didn't leave it to your manager, you didn't leave it to Amazon or to TikTok, or you've actually took control and you said, okay, that's work time, but I need to do my career time. Which I think it's not
And
everyone does that.
yeah, and if you are lucky to Amazon, to be honest, was very I was very lucky that they provided growth opportunities and they provided learning opportunities and they encouraged you to dedicate some time to learn specific technologies. So
Mm.
it doesn't always have to be after work. I know people have families. I know not everyone can do this. And even if you did it for a while, you can do it for a while
Yeah.
to do a transition or achieve something. But at the end of the day, you have to be in an organization that will appreciate that you need to grow. If you
Yeah.
are there, you will not need to overwork. Yeah,
I agree. So yeah, I didn't. Yeah, definitely. It's not normal to always have the time after work to grow, but yeah, I
yeah,
think sometimes we do have to do it in our own time.
yeah.
Um, so with that, Dogan, what are your thoughts on that? How do you balance your personal growth,
Yeah.
and how did you end up where you are now?
Look, there are two aspects. One is how you manage your time. The other one is what you want to pick to improve yourself in. For the first one, like I said, being in project management, data analytics, management for quite a long time, you naturally build up these skills to plan your time like you plan the other people's time. But there is there's a very simple trick that I use for myself. Probably a lot of people are doing it, which is if I really want to allocate a time for myself, for learning new things or for other things, focusing on some ideas or some tasks, I just book myself. I just create a meeting for myself and make sure that other people are aware that I'm not available. Another important aspect is the expectation management. By the time that you work a lot of tasks with other people in the projects, this is a very important skill that you need to build, because if you don't manage the expectations of others, then you end up with lack of time to do anything. When it comes to training, I believe in on-the-job training a lot. I can tell you the majority of the things that I know, I learn it by taking tasks, volunteering to do the things. Like in the SQL example I mentioned, I graduated from university almost not able to understand what is SQL, but at the end of the day, I was the expert after start using it. And this is one of the things. So if you really want to improve yourself, build a skill for yourself, uh, in my view, you need to make sure that you align this skill with your role. Come up with ideas and experiment things, and prove that this is going to help the organization that you are in. So while you are experimenting, you are doing the on the job training for yourself, try and fail, and building new things and using new methodologies or technologies, you are helping the organization and innovating. So this when you do this, you don't need to worry about the time, because whatever you do for yourself is for the organization.
Definitely. I completely agree. I think when the growth plan is aligned with the organization and you can actually show the team and the organization that this is the path and this is what you need to do, and actually start volunteering for projects so that you can learn those new skills. I think similar to, I mean, Dogan, that you mentioned about your SQL skills. Yeah, I got into data and tech, but I'm a qualified accountant by trade. So completely from a different world. But yeah, it is making sure that I can actually take on those projects so I can, you know, develop the skill set. Uh,
Yeah, and sorry, and you might say, if the organization is not aligned with what you want to learn, how you want to improve yourself, then this means you are in the wrong place. Then you need to pick a new challenge, and go into another organization that has the same priorities and objectives like
which is
yourself.
again back to what Ahmed has said about the sweet spot at a certain point, because I remember that you mentioned that,
Yeah,
Ahmed, in the talk today.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's having the spot, and if you're not there, and as you said, Dogan, basically it's the culture. You need this development, and you need an organization that encourage you to thrive and to grow. I'm just aware of
yeah,
time, and I know that we mentioned that we're not going to go over like 40 minutes max. So I'll just close it really with the last question and ask each of you, and I'll start with Dogan this time, taking it from where we ended, and ask, what advice would you give younger Dogan, um, someone starting their career in supply chain, to be such a successful leader as yourself?
yeah. I think the very first thing I will say to myself, younger self, is forget about the tech bit. Try to understand the business. Try to understand the challenges of the people that are working with you. Like in Ahmed's initial entry into tech, identify the problems, automation, or whatever is needed to make the people's life easier, more effective, more optimized way of working. Try to understand the business. Work with people, talk with people, and try to realize what you know from technology perspective, how it would help the organization. And at one point, I would say to myself that, Luan, you really need to know the business more than the business people that you are helping with, because these people working in the field, in the warehouse, or in the finance, they don't have time to train you. You have to come in front of them, knowing everything that they know, and they should see that you are going to be helpful to them with your technology skills. You need to be in the warehouse, you need to be in the field, you need to be in the retail store with the rep, seeing the conversation, the negotiation, the challenges, how these people are collecting the money from these customers, or how does a planner doing the forecast, what kind of challenges are these people facing? If you don't know this, then you cannot really utilize your technical skills, and it will be a disaster, I would say. So if you are in a supply chain, you are a supply chain person first. You are a tech person as a secondary skill.
That is true. So be close to the business as much as you can. Uh, you are the function that you support as a data person. I love that.
Exactly.
Um, and with that, Ahmed, what would you say to younger Ahmed starting his career now?
Um, I think simply I would put it that way. Put yourself in the exposure needed that will teach you how to do what you need to do or what you want to do. And don't be afraid to start small. So find, because I remember I was so frustrated that I lost many years of my career, but actually I learned a lot about different industries outside the career. I learned about retail, I learned about tourism. And then when I started small in tech, because I loved what I do, I grew very quickly, grew very fast. And I was trying, according to my next step, I was trying to put myself in situations where I would learn what I want to do as a next step. For example, if you are a developer and you want to get into data, try to take initiative yourself and do a data project that will help the business. Start from the business, as Doga mentioned, understand the business need, and do a data project as an initiative. You will be seen as someone who goes the extra mile, but at the same time, you matched your personal growth with the business growth, again, as Doga mentioned before. So, and these little projects, don't underestimate them. They make all the differences in the interview. The hands-on experience, the younger you are, the more you can be hands-on, the more this actually is more needed in the market than you think. Because I was so I was call myself dumb to think when I was young that, oh, the big companies, they must be much more advanced at what we're doing in the university. And then I realized that what we were doing in the university was actually what they were after, because they couldn't do it because of their bureaucracy.
Because of the
Um,
size, yes.
because of the size, exactly. They need you, they need that young experience, they need that nimble kind of skill that will do things quickly, will be creative. So don't underestimate yourself at all. I think that's the summary.
I love that. Don't underestimate yourself. And I think I love also what you said about starting small and restarting again. A lot of people have changed careers. I think you mentioned moving around from, jewelry to startups to multinationals. Dogan, you mentioned moving. Actually, you were quite, yes, courageous to say that you've taken a step in a different industry and you said, you know what, it's not for me, and you moved back to FMCG, Dogan. So I felt like that's already like it's someone who actually was not afraid to say, well, you know what? Yeah, I've made a decision, but I wouldn't have known that it wouldn't have worked. Um, so I think, yeah, just taking this, being courageous enough to start and take those opportunities. So I think we have gone a bit over time. I think the conversation was really very interesting. I genuinely enjoyed it. And I want to thank you both for such an engaging, inspiring conversation, sharing your careers. And I think that's what Get Community, Get Leadership Mindset Community is about. It's how can we grow together, empower each other, and thrive. And with today's session, both of you have really shared a lot, and you've opened up about your experience, how you ended up being the successful, inspiring people you are, and I genuinely thank you for that. Um,
Thanks to you.
Thank
thank
Thanks
you.
for
you,
Thank you,
having me.
Fatima.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks a
Ahmed.
lot, Dogan.
So with that, I'll again thank everyone who's joined us. If you haven't joined us live, the session is available on my LinkedIn, on Figure It Out with Fatima, YouTube channel, on Ahmed Hani's LinkedIn profile, his Yafit YouTube channel, and his Facebook. Um, so make sure that you watch it wherever you want, and also feel free also to put the comments in any of those platforms. And between the three of us, I'm sure that we will be responding definitely to make sure that you have the answers. So thank you again if you're joining us live. Thank you if you're watching this on replay. And again, thank you very, very much, Ahmed and Henny. Genuinely, thank you for the chat today. It was really inspiring. It's a great way, an inspiring way to start the weekend. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks to
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.